All right, well, good morning and greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you for tuning into Lions Talk Live. So I'm sure most of us are aware, big game this weekend if I'm a Lions fan, and which I'm assuming if you're watching this channel, we all are. The Lions, you can't go 2-0 unless you went 1-0 in week one, and that's exactly what they did. You can say everything you want about, hey, this person's missing, that person's missing, but I think we all get, everybody's got somebody missing. The Lions had players missing, etc., etc. But now let's turn our focus from the Kansas City week one game to where it needs to be, which I'm sure Dan Campbell and his staff have been preaching all week. That's the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, I get they did not have a great game week one against the Rams. But let's keep in mind, they were up at the half before falling apart in the second half. One of the things that may potentially aid the Lions is it looks like Seattle may not have either one of their starting offensive tackles. Yeah, I think probably most of you are aware both of them went down, and then this week Seattle had to re-sign two offensive linemen to go ahead and put in there. Neither one of them is a great option. Jason Peters, I get he was a phenomenal offensive tackle at one point, but he's 41 now. He's coming off basically the couch. And what's that going to mean for the Detroit Lions? Well, I think it means if I'm Seattle, I've got to say, hey, I've got to run the ball early and often and do everything I can to keep our quarterback, Geno Smith, standing upright. That means the Lions defense is going to be tested having to force pass options out of Seattle. Seattle can't just come in and do what they did last year, where they do a lot of quarterback rollouts or play action passes. The Lions just looked ill prepared a year ago. I know we all are aware that the Lions didn't even force a punt that game. But let's talk about what is good for Detroit. Detroit is very healthy going into this matchup. Yes, Taylor Decker has a bum ankle, but you know what? I'm going to guess by Sunday he's going to be ready to go. If he played all through the Kansas City game on that thing, and now more or less has had 10 days off, he should be good to go. I really think this game is going to come down to establishing dominance early and often. One of the biggest things I've tried to learn to do as a coach over all my years is you get a situation like this where a team's a little beat up, they just came off a tough loss. I want to do everything I can in that first quarter, first half to bury them. Don't give them any reason to believe that they can stick around and play on the same field with us. So if I'm Dan Campbell, I'm going to probably have that same approach. It seems fairly consistent with him and especially Aaron Glenn. So I expect the Lions to be uber aggressive on defense this weekend. I mean, I think they're going to go after Geno Smith and then go sack his family up in the stands, put everybody through the turf at Ford Field. I also want to see the secondary for us continue to do what they did against Kansas City. Be ball hawks. Be destructive. Lay the wood on some people. You can say what you want about Brian Branch and getting the pick six, but if that pick six doesn't happen, he was about ready to put that receiver through the turf at Arrowhead Stadium. As far as the offense, hey, it was opening day. I get we can say that maybe they're just a little bit off with here and there, and there's probably a lot of accuracy to that because they didn't really have any time to gel in the preseason. But I think this is a statement game for that offense, for Jared Goff, whoever you want to name on the offense. They need to come out just like the defense, and they need to put the foot through the floor, put the gas pedal down, and go for it. Last year, yeah, they scored a ton of points. They looked great, but they need to make sure that they can do everything to assist the defense. Put Seattle in consistent situations where they're going to have to chase us. We get up 14, 16, 17 points, whatever it may be. Seattle can afford to run the ball less unless they're just going to kill clock and say, you know what, this game is over. But that's also where you want them to be mentally. You want Seattle by halftime to say, you know what, it doesn't matter that we should be throwing the ball. We can't afford to throw the ball. Otherwise, our offensive line's not going to hold up. Geno Smith's going to get killed. We've got nothing going on. We're just going to run the ball to get the clock moving and get out of here. That's where we will know as Lions fans, this team has gone into a completely different direction. This team has gone from what we've been in the past. We're kind of reactive. Something happens, we're going to react to it, to a team that is proactive. We're going to force our wills down upon you, Seattle. And that's where I think if we see that happen Sunday, we'll know the same old Lions really are gone. The same old Lions who just, hey, you're going to do this to us, that to this, that's fine, we'll respond, we'll react to it. That's when I know a championship team is starting to be developed here in Detroit. When you impose your will on somebody and say, it doesn't matter what you're going to do, doesn't matter your game plans, whatever, put them through the ground. Make sure that by the start of that fourth quarter, they're looking up in the scoreboard and saying, how much longer until we can hit the locker room? You want them to make sure they have absolutely no thoughts about victory, no will, no desire to even ever return to Ford Field. Not this season. So the Lions going to make a playoff push. The Lions are going to be a real contender. I think for me, for my opinion, it starts Sunday. You win Sunday, and there's a real chance you can go 4-0, 5-0, 6-0 before your next real big opponent. And I want to say this. We win here Sunday, we will go 6-0, and the national media's attention towards us, the narrative, will change a whole lot more. All right, if there's any breaking news today, I'll make sure I hop back on. I know you guys always ask me about trade talk information. So nothing really new to report today on any fronts, but if something does pop up, I'll make another video about it. Otherwise, enjoy your day, and we'll see you next time on Lions Talk Live.